Hey, what is up guys, and welcome to Should You Play Star Wars Battlefront. Star Wars is a franchise that people probably love more than anything else when it comes to things like this, and it's been quite a while before we've had a really decent Star Wars game. We sort of had a peak maybe 10 to 15 years ago, and ever since, although we've had things like The Force Unleashed, they haven't really delivered all that well. We have of course had the free-to-play sort of Star Wars MMO, which people have been enjoying, and you can still sort of get some extras if you pay for it. It wasn't originally free to play, actually, it was subscription. It is the Old Republic, of course, we're talking about, but this is the first Battlefront we've had in a long time anyway. We're going to be going over the graphics. This is of course the PC version, and we're going to be going over the gameplay and variety of modes and all the usual stuff. This is the home screen. You can get a partner and then you can go into games with your partner. You can play missions, survival or battles. Probably not going to be spending most of your time here, let's be honest. The survival is actually quite fun, but it doesn't really have much longevity. I played a couple of these before at EGX, so that's why I haven't really played them since I've been back. But survival on Endor, this is actually what I use for the benchmark. I take a 1-minute sequence from Endor that I can recreate, because it's quite a intensive map. So we've got those modes anyway, so you're probably not going to be spending most of your time here, but you can see there are quite a few. But you know, I mean, it's not no substitute for a proper campaign or anything, but that's not really Battlefield. How many times am I going to say Battlefield? It's not really Battlefront style. Walker Assault is where you're going to be spending most of your time. This is the most epic of the game modes. You know exactly what it is. We'll be going through it properly in a moment, but I imagine 99% of you will know exactly what Walker Assault is anyway. Fighter Squadron, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. Hop into the Starfighter and dominate the skies. So that's going to be slightly different, but most of these modes almost feel like a slightly watered down version, unfortunately, of Walker Assault. Things like Supremacy, definitely kind of and Blast, even Cargo, which is like a capture the flag sort of thing. While they're okay, I just can't see many people clicking and playing on them. Drop Zone, it's just a bit boring, in all honesty. You might play it for a bit of a change, but then you quickly realise that a change isn't always what you want. Hero Hunt is a bit more interesting, but still gets a little bit boring. It's only really Walker Assault that I can see people playing back to back, and this is definitely the main meat of the game. What map shall we choose? You can see here there's only 4 plus the 5th one, which is now free DLC, and this is what has got most people sort of talking negatively about the game, because for Walker Assault, which is what you really want to be playing, there aren't that many maps, and 5, oh, it's not brilliant, is it? I mean, if this was Call of Duty and there was 4 maps, can you imagine? Wouldn't go down very well. And couple that with the season pass, really isn't going to go down very well. Quickly, I will show you the options menu though. We have here collections where you can unlock stuff. You can get new weapons as you level up. Nothing we haven't seen before. Cards. These are essentially almost like your secondary loadout, your special loadout. There's quite a nice variety here, but some of these things, like the circular rifle, I think should be available a bit earlier, because it's just one of those classic things where the powerful players that have spent a lot of time with the game become even more powerful, and it's a bit silly. Appearance, I would like more choices. You have some really cool characters that you unlock once you get to a really high level, but again, it would be nice to see maybe some more stuff. So I'm playing now as Bald Human, but if I'm a rebel, I'm just playing as Old Human. Emotes and things like that, it's not really that interesting. You're not going to be spending too much time there. Diorama is quite cool. It basically just gives you some challenges to do, and it encourages you to play different modes, and you unlock like a sequence of events in the form of a diorama. There's a whole tab for Season Pass, which is definitely upsetting people. New locations, it gives you absolutely nothing, but it tries to charge you for it. Well, it doesn't try to charge it for you, it tries to get you to buy it. I'm rank 12, as you can see. KD all needs to be improved. But the settings menu anyway, it's good as always. We've got everything you need here. Even Dolby Atmos. If you've got a Atmos receiver. I really want to listen to that. But unfortunately I don't have one. Those are ceiling speakers, but that'd be pretty damn cool to do that. Wide dynamic range and headphone dynamic range and everything in between. Pretty cool. Video options. This game runs amazingly well. If you have decent hardware or above, I would say. If you're on low-end hardware, probably not. For the purpose of this video, I'm using high settings because I am not using a hardware encoder. This is a software encoder running off a Fury. Not the Fury X, just a standard Fury, the Asus Strix Edition. Plenty of settings to choose from. You can probably get settings you like, and even on a GTX 960M, I still had more than playable performance, and the game still looked good. Anyway, speaking of gameplay, probably should jump in and get going. This is actually the first Battlefield/Battlefront game that I've played that actually supports controllers without needing to restart the game, for what I can tell, which is excellent, because if you're like me and you like to fly all your planes/jets or whatever you're playing in Battlefront/Battlefield, then it means that finally you can actually, if you forget to plug it in before you start, you can actually then not get frustrated, which is pretty nice. So, of the 4 maps, this is the one that was in the beta, which some of you might be like, well, can we see the other ones? And maybe in hindsight, yes, that would have been a better option. But as there are only 4, there's not really that much variety. I mean, there's variety in the locations themselves. Don't get me... Oh, okay, match starting, okay. There is variety in the modes themselves. Not in the modes themselves, in the maps themselves, but as there aren't many, it is a little bit annoying for people. As for loadouts, you can see your cards will recharge on the left if you're not familiar with this system, as well as your power-up that I've got in at number 2. Walker Assault is literally a case of, if you are on the Rebels team like I am, then you want to go and you want to destroy these things, and the way you do that is you need to go and activate these uplinks, and then once you've got the uplinks, the Y-wings will lock on to the walkers, and then you'll have a timed, well, an amount of time to basically take out the walker. This will happen 3 times, and once that has happened, then you either win or you lose, depending on how far you get. In the beta, it was pretty unbalanced, and even though I actually kind of liked the challenge, they have dumbed it down, and it's now easier to win as the Rebels. Now, some purists might think this is a bit naff, but in all honesty, it's a lot better because it's a lot fairer on people. And it means that you actually have a decent chance as a rebel. I think maybe it's slightly too easy now, but probably that's just being a bit picky. Overall, it's pretty good. You'll notice these power-ups that you'll see around the map that give, with the distances. Those will be things from vehicles to things like thermal grenades. What else we got? Airstrikes and things like that. And they're all possible through power-ups. Now this is not very easy. The way I've got the microphone positioned, I'm going to have to use the mouse, and the mouse controls are nothing short of terrible. Do not try and fly the plane with the mouse. It's not very easy to do in Battlefield, and it's definitely a lot harder in this, and it's just terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Use the arrow keys and it's actually not too bad, but using a controller, the flight is actually very nice, and I haven't had any problems navigating and flying the vehicles. That wasn't really a very good way, unfortunately, of showing you that, but it is true. I mean, I actually quite like the vehicle combat. It's not as good as it is in Battlefield, I think, overall, just because realistically there's not too many battles going on in the sky, and when they are happening, you're kind of separated from what's going on down below. And the only real point of being in a vehicle is for 2 reasons. A, you want to be in a vehicle for a change, or maybe you want to actually help the team out, and then you will be attacking the walker with one of the fighters, and that actually does quite a lot of damage and is a good strategy if you want to win the game. So, what's the actual gameplay like then? Well, I personally really enjoy it. I must have played Walker Assault on this map, if you include the beta, for many hours. We're probably talking 8 hours on this particular map. And personally, I'm actually not bored at all. Quite the opposite. I still enjoy it every single time I play it. I am going to lower down the settings just ever so slightly, I think, because at the moment I'm running into some sort of performance issues. But you saw what it looked like at high. This is what it's going to look like at medium. Why I didn't change the preset, I don't know. But yes, you can do it on the fly. You don't need to restart the game anyway. So let's see if this actually helps performance. Hopefully we're not getting any dropped frames or anything. It doesn't look like we are, so we probably should be okay. But the gameplay, I really like it, and I'm gonna blow the horn a little bit early here in terms of the verdict of the game. Just I really like the game, okay? I really like the game. And I know the reviews have maybe been slightly lukewarm to the game. And they praise the authenticity of the game. But they don't necessarily like the fact that there isn't much variety. The game modes themselves aren't brilliant other than Walker Assault. And there aren't very many maps. But to me, personally, this doesn't really matter. I mean, if this was a perfect game, all I personally think would need to change, really, without, you know, properly sitting down and having a meeting and discussing everything that could be improved with it, is the maps, okay? That is a bummer. There's no doubt about it. It is a bummer that there aren't more maps. Because if there were about 8 maps, all with Walker Assault, then this thing would be absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But there aren't many maps. There's, including the free DLC, which I think is fair to include in this video, there are 5, which isn't that many. But when you think you spend about 20 minutes on each map, personally, for me, I would say that is enough to not be an issue. When there were 4 at launch, we're getting a bit too close, personally, and I think that people are right to complain that there were only 4 maps at launch. There definitely should be more than that, and I don't know why they've got the strategy of having the sort of the free DLC later down the line. I guess they're trying to do it in such a way that sort of keeps your interest on the game. It's like, oh well, the DLC is coming out next week. I don't want to sort of you know, lose my progress, if you like. I want to keep battling it out, but I don't really think that's necessarily the best way to go about it. I mean, because I don't know how many free maps there's going to be. From what it sounds like there might be more, but I don't think it's been very clear how many free maps there's going to be. And the fact that they've thrown this season pass straight sort of in your face, I think is definitely I don't feel any sort of sympathy for the slightly lukewarm reception that the game has been receiving, because it does seem a bit like they've given sort of the minimum they can get away with, and they want to charge you for more. And I know that this is going to be a really expensive game to make. You think of all the licensing and the amount of time and effort and the production team and the production values that's gone into this game, it's pretty much unparalleled in terms of scope at the moment. I mean, it's so much better in terms of like the real quality of the game. The actual experience is so authentic that the amount of man hours it must have taken is absolutely outstanding. And it seems like every single hour that's been put into this game has, you know, really done wonders. And it's such a polished gameplay experience. It really is, in my opinion. I know some people might disagree, but that's what I think anyway. I just think it's quite a feat, and there should be more maps, because if they'd put more maps in the game, I would be sitting here going, in all honesty, I'd probably say this is one of the best games that I've ever played. Because the actual quality of the experience is so good. If you like Star Wars, if you want authenticity, if you want to feel like you're playing in the Star Wars universe, this not only does it, but it absolutely smashes it out of the park. It just seems so silly that they've given people reasons to sort of go, no, I'm not sure. I don't. EA have done it again, and which is something that a lot of people are saying, and it's such a shame. Because if there are going to be maybe a total of 6 or 7 maps that are out for free, unless they weren't ready at the game's launch, why on earth would you not advertise that? Why would you say buy the season pass? The only reason I can think of is that they just wanted to say, well, let's get as many people buying the game as we can. Oh no, that's rubbish. I'm not happy about that. Oh! Forgot I had the bloody pickup. So now I've lost it. That was a hero pickup, so he'd be Luke Skywalker or something. That's really annoying me. Really annoying me. And I've kind of lost my train of thought a little bit. But yeah, no, it just seems such a shame that they sort of gave people a chance to moan, really. And if there are going to be a load of free maps, then this makes the games just so much more of a decent proposition anyway. But I guess the verdict is that I am 100% happy with the game overall. Really, really am. I just wish there were a few more maps. That's the simplest way of putting it. probably should mention, because I was about to say that it was totally worth the money, but as always, this was based on a review copy that EA sent out. But for £40, if you are anything other than an avid Star Wars hater, then it's thoroughly recommended, because while it's not the most sort of complex shooter out there, I think it's just really fun to play. I think the quality of the environments is outstanding. The authenticity as well is absolutely outstanding. And bearing in mind this is the first Battlefront game in 10 years or however long it's been, I think it's an absolute cracker. Really, really is. And I think it deserves a better reception than it's had. That's not to say that people aren't liking it. It's not like it's not come out and it's been buggy. Unbelievable. A game's come out and it's not buggy. How about that? It runs amazingly well on providing you've got semi-decent hardware. It's scalable. It looks just as good at lower settings as it does on higher settings. If you crank up the resolution, it looks outstanding. The sound effects are authentic and just truly brilliant. The atmosphere of the game is top-notch. There's a few other things, you know, that are a bit less major, if you like. Like, I don't like the way the game spawns you so far away sometimes from the walkers when it's time to attack them. And it just means that you kind of waste your opportunity. Like now, like I can't see one, I can't shoot one because it spawned me stupidly far away. I don't think there's enough character models. I think there's not enough variety in that respect. I think maybe actually I would like a couple more power-ups. That's not to say the ones that we've got are bad. It just, after quite a few games, I guess they almost get a bit samey. Some of the heroes are a bit overpowered as well. I think the Rebels heroes aren't as good. But like now, why you spawn me so far away that I won't be able to shoot it? Like seriously, why have you done that? I don't get it. Anything else that I don't like about it? Not really. No, I guess maybe some of the positioning of things like these things here, the uplinks. That's the word I'm looking for. Is a bit silly. Some of the turrets maybe just seem a little bit pointless in their placement. Maybe a little bit overpowered, some of them underpowered others. But generally speaking, there's not really much I don't like about it. I just like more maps really. I think that's just the plain and simple of it. But I think the thing that's quite interesting is if we look at something like Fallout, we look at something like Call of Duty. And just on my friends list, I have one friend that's bought this game on my friends list. Whereas all the other games, there's more than one person. And I just think that's really interesting, because I thought this was just going to be a game that has sold more, like the all-time bestseller. I mean, when Destiny came out, personally, although it's got a lot of longevity, it was really not as good as this game, in my opinion. It really isn't. Yet that came out and sold an absolutely stupid amount. Things like Watch Dogs sold an absolutely stupid amount. And it seems that gamers now have got so cautious about these things, and rightfully so, that maybe they haven't picked up a game that they should have done. But I think it's quite interesting when we look at the free DLC model, and I'm interested in whether EA are saying, oh look, well what we should do is there aren't enough maps, we'll get some of the ones we've put in the season pass, give them out for free, and then make some more, or something like that. We'll never know. But I think it's very interesting anyway. Probably should mention some of the other aspects of the game, but I'm kind of struggling to think what I haven't mentioned yet, actually. Some of the things like that. Why is that? Why is the homing shot? Why is that a thing? Things like that are annoying. You can change your blasters on the fly. You can have a partner start, but I think this isn't really put in your face enough, and it actually helps you quite a lot to play with a partner, but I haven't really been doing that. But yeah, no, I'm very happy. And should you play Star Wars Battlefront? In my opinion, absolutely. As long as you don't mind the fact that there's only really one game mode that you're probably going to be playing all the time. And at the time of filming, there are only 5 free maps. If that bothers you, bear in mind these are very big maps as well. If that bothers you, then this probably isn't the right thing to buy. But I personally think that you are going to get good value for money, and there's nothing obviously else really like this game on the market at the moment if you're after a Star Wars game. There just isn't, and it's quite a nice refreshing change if you're like first person shooters and you're bored of the traditional modern military shooter. This really is very, very good. But yeah, I think that actually kind of brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really appreciate it as always. If you have any questions, then at PC Centric is definitely the place to go. and I will be able to answer any questions you may or may not have on the game. Once again, thanks to EA for actually getting the copy out to me. It's very kind. I am fortunate enough to obviously be able to review games, but I mean, it's just a case of if I don't get a copy, I can't review it these days. It's plain and simple as that. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you haven't already for more videos like this, as well as other computer-based videos. Don't forget the live streams are every Wednesday at 6:30, so the last one, that's GMT, so British time. Oh dear. Oh dear. So yeah, live streams at 6:30. And if you haven't seen any of them, you can check out the archives. They're now live. We've got a load of monitor reviews coming, like the FreeSync monitor reviews coming very, very shortly, as well as a computer build guide before the end of the year. So there's not too much left to say other than thank you so much for checking out this video. As always, I really appreciate it. And I guess I'll probably see you. Oh, can I get him? Can I get him? Can I get him in time? I'm going to guess no. No. And I will see you in the next one.